You feel it before you see it. A wave of heat moving up through your neck, spreading across your cheeks, reaching your ears. And the moment you notice it happening, it gets worse. The more you think about the blush, the deeper it goes. You can't stop it. You can't hide it. You can't reason your way out of it. Your face is broadcasting something to everyone in the room that you would give almost anything to keep private. Charles Darwin studied nearly every form of animal behavior he could find. He documented fear responses in cats, play behavior in primates, grief in elephants. And when he came to blushing, he wrote something that has stayed with scientists ever since. He called it the most peculiar and most human of all expressions. Not the most dramatic. Not the most complex. The most human. Because as far as anyone can determine, across every species on the planet, we are the only ones who do it. The question is why? Let's start with what actually happens inside the body, because it is stranger than most people realize. Blushing is not caused by embarrassment directly. It is caused by a surge of adrenaline. When you experience acute social discomfort the moment you say something wrong, when you realize everyone is looking at you, when you make an error in front of people you care about impressing, your sympathetic nervous system fires. Adrenaline floods the bloodstream. And one of adrenaline's effects, usually, is to constrict blood vessels and prepare the body for action. But the blood vessels in your face, specifically your cheeks, ears, and the back of your neck, respond differently. They expand. The reason for this is a quirk of receptor biology. Most of your blood vessels carry a type of receptor that responds to adrenaline by tightening. The vessels in your face carry a different receptor, the beta-2 adrenergic receptor, that responds by opening. So while the rest of your body is priming for a threat response, blood is rushing into your cheeks, turning them red, and staying there until the adrenaline clears. This is already interesting. But here is the part that makes blushing genuinely strange: it only happens in social situations. Not in physical danger. You can nearly fall off a ladder without blushing. You can be startled, frightened, in genuine pain, and your face stays its normal color. But say the wrong name in a meeting, have someone point out a stain on your shirt, get called on in a class when you didn't do the reading, and within seconds your face betrays you. The trigger is not threat in general. The trigger is specifically social evaluation. The perception, real or imagined, that others are forming a judgment about you. And it does not even require other people to be present. People who are completely alone can blush when they remember an embarrassing thing they said 3 years ago. People will blush in the dark. People born blind, who have never seen a human face and have never watched anyone else blush, still blush in response to social situations. This rules out learning, imitation, or cultural transmission. Blushing is not something we pick up. It is something we are built to do. Which raises the obvious question: why? What possible use does it serve to involuntarily broadcast your inner state to everyone around you at the exact moment you most want to conceal it? The answer comes from evolutionary biology, and it has to do with what blushing actually communicates, not to you, but to everyone watching. Humans are deeply social animals who depend on cooperation. Cooperation requires trust. Trust requires honesty. And the problem with honesty is that most signals of honesty can be faked. You can say you feel terrible about something. You can make a face that looks like remorse. You can apologize with perfect sincerity in your voice while feeling nothing at all. These are all performances that can be simulated. Blushing cannot. A genuine blush is involuntary, impossible to fake convincingly, and impossible to suppress once it starts. When someone blushes, they are providing an honest signal, one the body cannot manufacture on demand, that they are genuinely affected by the social situation. That they care. That they are aware they have violated a norm and that it matters to them. In a world where trust is currency, that signal is extraordinarily valuable. Research backs this up in a way that consistently surprises people. In studies where participants are shown descriptions of people who made social errors, the individuals who blushed after their mistake were consistently rated as more trustworthy, more likable, and more likely to be forgiven than those who did not. The blush was not a weakness. It was evidence of something valuable, that the person had a functioning social conscience. This is the evolutionary argument. Blushing survived because it serves the group. It allows people around you to quickly assess whether someone is genuinely remorseful or simply performing remorse. It is an authentication mechanism. Your face is running a proof of care protocol, and it does it without your permission precisely because a permission-based version would be useless. But knowing all of this does not make blushing easier to live with. And the reason for that is what makes it genuinely cruel as a system. When you notice yourself blushing, the awareness of the blush becomes a new source of social evaluation anxiety. You are now not just embarrassed about the original thing, you are embarrassed about being visibly embarrassed. This second layer of self-consciousness triggers another wave of sympathetic activation, which deepens the blush, which increases the self-consciousness, which deepens it further. The physiological feedback loop has no natural ceiling. The more you try to think your way out of it, the worse it becomes. This is why virtually every strategy people deploy to stop blushing makes it worse. Telling yourself not to blush, worse. Thinking about whether you're blushing, worse. Checking in a mirror, worse. Mentioning it to the person you're with, sometimes so dramatically worse that the blush reaches places it has never reached before. The only thing that actually works is redirecting attention away from yourself entirely. Not suppression, redirection. The blush begins to fade when your attention moves back to the external world, to the conversation, to the other person, to anything that is not the fact of your own reddening face. This is not intuitive advice. When you are the focus of your own embarrassment, turning outward feels impossible. But it is the only path that doesn't add fuel to the fire. There is one more piece worth understanding: the spotlight effect. Humans chronically overestimate how much other people notice things about them. When you blush, you experience the blush as enormous, total, impossible to miss. The reality, in almost every case, is that it is far less visible than it feels, fades much faster than it seems, and is being registered much less intensely by the people around you than you assume. They have their own inner monologue running. They are not studying your cheeks. The spotlight that feels so blinding from the inside is, from the outside, barely aglow. Some people experience blushing so severely that it becomes genuinely disabling. In extreme cases, there is even a surgical procedure, endoscopic thoracic sympathectomy, that severs the nerves responsible for facial flushing. It works, and for some people it is life-changing. But it also eliminates something. The people who have had the surgery often describe a strange feeling afterward: an absence. Something that was involuntary and embarrassing turns out to have also been something else, a signal that they were present, that they cared, that what happened in their social world mattered to them. Darwin called blushing the most human of expressions for a reason. It is not a malfunction. It is evidence of something intact. The capacity to be affected. The inability to pretend otherwise. The face doing what the voice would like not to. It is, if you look at it from the right angle, something close to proof that you are paying attention.